In theaters this week is a dark comedy crime thriller called Riff Raff. I didn't even know this movie was coming out, but you will recognize people that are in it. It stars Bill Murray, Pete Davidson, Jennifer Coolidge, Ed Harris, so there are a handful of people you've definitely seen before. And on a surface level, this movie feels pretty generic, like a movie we've seen before, but the way it's filmed, the way the story's told makes it feel pretty unique to me. Because the way this story's told is it's told through a series of flashbacks and stories amongst these family members. That's how we get to know the characters, their incentives, why they're here, what's actually going on. Because the whole story is told through the lens of the youngest kid in this family named DJ. We find out right at the beginning that two hitmen played by Bill Murray and Pete Davidson, they play Lefty and Lonnie. They're after somebody. We don't really know why. We find out that Ed Harris is a retired criminal and his entire family is up north. We have no idea why they've gotten together. They don't know these criminals are after them. We don't even know who the criminals are after. So this movie plays out through a series of events and stories told by DJ as the events unfolded. And that's how this movie unravels. It's kind of a mystery and it's pretty intriguing the way it's told. It's entertaining to me. What makes this movie feel unique immediately is how raunchy it is. It's a very vulgar, pitch black comedy. That's what I'd call it. We don't get too many movies like this anymore. I thought it was very refreshing that this movie is not politically correct at all. Jokes about just about everything. Jokes towards kids, jokes about castration, monologues about orgasms. Very raunchy throwback to like American Pie time. So if you're into that type of humor, you're kind of sad we don't get it too much anymore. Maybe keep this movie on your radar.
Oh my God.
Can I get you anything?
I'd sell my left tit for an Advil and a cup of coffee.
You said what?
But I wouldn't personally categorize this entirely as a comedy. It's way too serious. It's way too dark. But there are some jokes that do hit. I found this entire movie to be very hit or miss, both story-wise and comedy-wise. It's almost split right down the middle 50-50. There was some stuff in this movie that did not work for me at all. I was stone-faced. The jokes and the bits did not land. There was another half of this movie I really enjoyed. I laughed out loud. I thought it was very effective. So this is a tale of two halves, because this is kind of a very slow-moving family drama with this very raunchy pitch black comedy thrown into it. The crime part of this really takes a back seat. The entire layout of it honestly kind of reminded me of Driveway Dolls. Everybody who follows my channel knows the disdain I have for that movie. I absolutely hate it. So this movie's kind of structured like that, except it doesn't suck. All of the acting's really good. I think Ed Harris, as always, plays this slimy criminal almost perfectly. Great to see Bill Murray in something once again. He's almost like unrecognizable because of his accent. And I think the sleeper best person in this movie is actually Pete Davidson. I'm not really a huge fan of his, but I think he really nails this quirky assassin. And to go back to the comparisons of American Pie, Jennifer Coolidge is in this again, and she's basically Stifler's mom in this movie again, just this absolute deadbeat drunk. So just once again wanted to reiterate the type of movie this is so your expectations are set.
You know, once you start killing, it sort of becomes your de facto solution for every problem.
I enjoyed spending time with this family and getting to meet these characters and hear their stories. A problem a lot of movies like this have is that all of the characters are just so unlikable, you just don't care. I didn't really have that problem with this movie. I thought these characters were flawed but interesting, and I thought they were redeemable, and that's important. And aside from the fact these guys are criminals and they do despicable actions from time to time, I couldn't help but laugh at the fact this family kind of reminded me of my own. My family swore a lot, and we were very lighthearted, and we ripped on one another. It was just our dynamic. It's a very light family. So I did laugh at the fact that it reminded me a little bit of family gatherings with relatives, where everybody's just kind of talking over one another and joking and swearing. It was just that same vibe, aside from the criminal activity. And I'm sure it's going to drive some people crazy because this is kind of in that uncut gems territory of just chaotic filmmaking, people talking over one another, a lot of swearing. But I actually liked how chaotic it was and how realistic and authentic it kind of felt for these people to converse. They'll be telling a story, then somebody will inject and ask them some stupid question and it will drop the flashback to real time. And after they address what's going on in the real world, it will go back to the flashback. I just thought it was an interesting method of storytelling to break it up the same way things happen in real life. You can't always cohesively tell a story start to finish without being interrupted and having things arise, and I think that was actually a creative way to make this movie stand out a bit. It wasn't really a problem for me, but this movie does move pretty slow. I felt the runtime a little bit. Pacing is a little bit slow before you get to the conclusion. Although I will say at the end, this thing goes full circle. I did not anticipate how this movie was going to end. There's a little bit of a twist. I thought that was creative. I did not expect this to end the way it did. I thought it was very creative the way it tied everything together. And also when it comes to tying things together, this movie does a really good job at connecting reoccurring bits. Where they'll mention something earlier in the movie, it seems insignificant. And then as the movie progresses, they'll go back to that 2 or 3 times and it will get get a chuck, a lot of you, because it's all related. So overall, guys, I don't think this is a perfect movie or anything, but I was definitely entertained during it. If you're a fan of pitch black crime thriller comedies and this is a movie you've maybe overlooked or never heard of, maybe put it on your radar, I think it was a damn good time. So if you guys have heard of or you plan on seeing Riff Raff, comment down below, let me know what you thought of it, or let me know what your favorite dark comedy is. As always, if you haven't subscribed, join me down below. I love talking movies with you, but I will see you in the next review. Peace.